Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I'm your hostess and your melanated queen, Lil Foxy, aka Seventh Wonder. How y'all doing today? So, as you may or may not have heard, Sean P. Diddy Puffy Combs, his bail has been denied, everyone. That is right, you're hearing it here. Live and direct. The bail has been denied. And I am going to try to share some information with you if I can pull it up. I just had it and I don't see it right now. So my apologies for that. Um, Let me click on the screen that I wish to share. Just a second, y'all. All right. Let's see if we can get this to come up. It's always when you're ready for it to present that you have these issues. Very unfortunate. All right, let's try it again. Here we go. Got it, y'all. Okay, here we go. So as you can clearly see right here, it says Sean Diddy Combs denied bail for third time in the trafficking case. Now this guy is very relentless, needless to say, extremely relentless, y'all. And I guess when you have money and things of such, you can do a lot of things, but you can't have everything your way, Sean Diddy Combs, okay? You have to have some humility. So maybe this is a humbling experience from the universe, okay? Because we already heard what he said. He's a savage. Whatever I want, I must get. What can you not do? I can do it. Oh, I'm a savage, remember? Okay, so anyway, as of today, posted 1 hour ago, Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail for the third time by a judge in New York City. That judge's name is Aaron, Arumn, and he has a very unusual last name. Now, I did see the court documents brought up by another content creator. I don't know how she was able to get her hands on the actual documents. It's a 5-page document, but I was not able to access it. So I'm going to read this article right here where it says two judges previously denied Mr. Combs's release from custody primarily due to concerns about potential witness tampering, deeming it a significant risk if he was freed before trial, which is scheduled for May 2025. Mr. Combs is being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, charged with racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. He has entered a plea of not guilty and also denied more than 2 dozen SA's accusations launched in a flurry of civil lawsuits. The judge cited evidence in the case showing Mr. Combs' alleged attempts at witness tampering, his violation of prison regulations while behind bars, and claims he ran a criminal enterprise, including forced labor and kidnapping. U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian concluded the court could not trust Mr. Combs if released on bail. The court finds that the government has shown by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community, the judge wrote in Wednesday's ruling. Prosecutors had opposed granting Mr. Combs bail, citing his misconduct while in custody. In a recent court filing, prosecutors accused the rap mogul of misusing jail communications to influence witnesses in his case and coercing others in his orbit to post online in order to sway public opinion and benefit his defense. But defense attorney for Mr. Combs said he should be released so he has adequate time to prepare for his trial next year. Earlier this month, Judge Subramanian ordered prosecutors in the case to destroy all copies of nearly 20 pages seized during a recent search of the former hip hop star's jail cell. Some of the documents included handwritten notes to his attorneys and thoughts on his legal strategy, court filings show. It says, he thought of himself as a king, the parties that led to Diddy. Okay, October 18th, 2024. Diddy called witness from prison, prosecutors say, and this was November 20th. Oh, this was as late as November 20th. Diddy faces more than 24 lawsuits as he sits in jail. Okay, Mr. Combs' legal team said the search was unlawful and that the material was subject to attorney client privilege, a legal doctrine that safeguards confidential communications between lawyers and those they represent. But prosecutors said the information wasn't protected due to Mr. Combs' alleged actions, which could be considered obstruction of justice and witness tampering. They claim Mr. Combs had encouraged his children to post a video on social media featuring their birthday celebration with the aim of swaying prospective jurors. Allegedly, Mr. Combs sent hundreds of text messages using an app called Contact Me ASAP, marketed as an innovative text messaging service for federal inmates to communicate with loved ones via real time messages. According to authorities, Mr. Combs has maintained two accounts on the platform, communicating with dozens of individuals, including attorneys and others not listed on his approved contacts list at the jail. Lisa Bloom, an attorney for Don Richards, or she calls herself Richard, who filed a civil lawsuit against Mr. Combs, also alleges that he was contacting witnesses from prison. In an interview with BBC's Newsnight, she said one person had called her client a liar and that phone tracking showed this person had more than 100 points of contact with Mr. Combs from jail. The strong implication there is that he talked her into making those statements, perhaps gave her money. We don't know. But that would be witness tampering, Ms. Bloom told Newsnight. Prosecutors have stated their investigation is ongoing, leaving open the possibility of additional charges or defendants. Ms. Bloom said she believes others could be charged in the investigation. Now, others should be charged because we cannot forget Harv Pierre. We cannot forget KK, Christina Karam, which is considered to be Diddy's right hand woman that organized some of these sex affairs. You know, we don't need to just implicate the person that did it, who also made these things possible for these things to take place. They should be implicated as well and charged accordingly. He didn't do this by himself, Ms. Bloom said. He had an operation that people were brought in by others. So he didn't do everything himself. And we think it's very important that not only do predators get brought to justice, but those who conspire with him, who help them, who are complicit. Exactly my sentiments as well. Dozens of civil lawsuits also have been filed against Mr. Combs, accusing him of coercing and abusing both men and women, blackmailing them with video recordings of sexual encounters, threatening witnesses, and in some cases, physically beating them. Several cases include accusations from people who were underage at the time of the alleged assaults. Mr. Combs has vehemently denied all the allegations. His legal team previously offered a $50 million bail package that included house arrest and no female visitors, but it was rejected by the court. He put up his Los Angeles and Miami mansions for sale in a bid to secure the bail bond. Wow, y'all. Wow. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought they said that the Miami property had featured some type of tunnels underneath the mansion. So why would this property be up for sale? Have they closed these tunnels? Have they investigated these tunnels? So I don't know why this particular property would be up for sale at this point in time because it still would hold some type of evidence. But y'all, this is very interesting. Let's continue to go on. Diddy's NDA, okay? So I did have a chance to read his actual NDA. I don't have it pulled up here, But the culture of silence, and a lot of celebrities, or what you all call celebrities, these infamous, famous people, use these a lot. And the lawyer calls Diddy's NDA terrifying, purposely intimidating. Here he is pictured with, some of his children. And let's continue and let's go on. A non disclosure agreement crafted on behalf of Sean Diddy Combs is the newest clue illuminating a sordid world of alleged sex trafficking, abuse, and illegal drug use surrounding the music mogul. It raised alarm bells for a lawyer who analyzed the document for the Miami Herald. NDAs are standard for artists and celebrities with major popularity and influence, attorney Gavin Tudor Elliott said. Normally, they're viewed as tools to protect an artist's private life, but the scope and breadth of Diddy's NDA, Elliott added, is far beyond the norm. It says this agreement may be the broadest non-disclosure agreement that I have ever seen, said Elliott, who has done extensive corporate contract work, including NDAs, for more than 20 years. The lack of clear definition as to who can and cannot be spoken about is terrifying. We're going to read about what the agents found when they raided Diddy's mansion. Where's the mogul and what to know? For Elliot, the agreement may have been drafted to create a culture of silence rather than offer a simple barrier between Diddy and the public. Why did Diddy hand out NDAs? In a lawsuit filed last month, music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones accused Diddy of being the leader of a criminal enterprise that could qualify as a widespread and dangerous criminal sex trafficking organization. A copy of the NDA was included in an updated complaint filed Wednesday. The NDA was presented to people who were at a Hollywood recording studio when a shooting occurred on September 12, 2022, Jones alleged. Some signed it, he did not. Now, just keep in mind that Lil Rod, the music producer, his case was thrown out of court. In the 98-page filing, Jones states the friend of Diddy's son, Justin Combs, was shot during a heated conversation with Diddy and Justin. So Diddy shot Justin Combs' friend. All right. Now, Justin is the son of Misa Hilton. All right. Wolf's son. According to Jones, there was a massive cover up after the shooting. Diddy's crew, he alleges, doctored the narrative that the man was shot outside the studio during a robbery. Police have yet to release any reports related to the shooting, so the police are covering up for him. Jones, however, states that Diddy and his son took the unnamed man into a nearby restroom shortly before gunshots rang out. When the door finally opened, the man was on the floor in the fetal position, bleeding from his torso. Jones rushed to the aid of Justin's friend and took him to an ambulance. According to the lawsuit, since the shooting, he has mysteriously vanished. Interesting. The producer's lawsuit isn't the only one. Similar allegations have emerged in recent months. Diddy was accused of sex assault in several other lawsuits filed by women. I wonder, did he pay the guy to disappear? Or did he have this guy to be taken away and vanished? The first involved R&B singer Cassandra Ventura, who alleged that Diddy abused her for years and forced her. Okay, so we already know about her lawsuit, right? And they're saying this created the domino effect for the other four lawsuits that followed. It's unclear who has seen or been told to sign the NDA. Part of the agreement is that signers cannot disclose it. The agreement weaponized for intimidation. Elliott sees the agreement more as a dangerously broad legal document rather than a true NDA that would withstand legal challenges. The document attempts to be a non-disclosure, non-disparagement, intellectual property rights, and indemnification agreement all at once for Diddy and anyone affiliated with him in any shape or form. There are no specifics on what would make someone an associate of Diddy, nor does it have any constraints on what can and cannot be said about them, Elliott said. So this right here on the screen is the standard Diddy Combs NDA. This document has been filed as part of evidence okay, as far back as March 27th, 2024. It has the name, the date, and the email of the said individual. I try to make this bigger. All right, now as you can clearly see, it says, hold on, try to. This confidential agreement is made and effective as of Friday, September 9th, 2022, by and on behalf of blank you. The term you shall include you, your estate, each corporation and or other business entity in which you have an ownership or beneficial interest, and any and all persons and or entities owned and or controlled by you and or such businesses, affiliates, employees, officers, directors, managers, accountants, and agents, and all of your respective heirs, executors, representatives, administrators, employees, licensees, successors, and assigns, for good and valuable consideration, collectively consideration, the receipt and sufficiency of which are hereby acknowledged by you, hereby irrevocably agrees as follows. Okay, it says number one, Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy, artist. Privacy is highly valued, and all efforts will be made to maintain confidentiality with respect to all information and other material of any kind, including without limitations, the terms, conditions, and existence of this agreement concerning and or related to directly and or indirectly artist and or person, corporation, and or other entity related to or affiliated and or relatives, past and or present fiancés, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, and business associates, collectively artist parties, and each an artist party, except for information or not at any time use or disclose directly or indirectly to anyone any of the following information. Let me see. Any the past, present, and or future which concerns or in any way relates to artists and or artist parties and or information shall be deemed confidential, private, secret, and sensitive and kept by you as confidential described in paragraph 1A, including without limitation pictures, recordings, records, documents, other activities of artists or any artist party, whether prepared by or on behalf of you or otherwise disclosed, removed, sold, disseminated, copied, or otherwise used and or exploited by or on behalf of written consent which may be withheld or any or no for any or no reason you shall not you shall not authorize any and or any artist parties of any kind or nature, whether personal, professional, or otherwise, including activities during or related to any service or activity performed by artists and or any artist parties, without limiting foregoing, you shall not authorize or facilitate any third party to uh, without artist's prior written consent, which may be withheld for any or no reason. Give any interviews, whether oral or written, write or prepare or assist in the preparation of any books or articles, whether fictional or non-fictional, make any remarks of any kind, or create any other materials in any media, including without limitation, confirming and or denying any confidential information related to artists and or any artist parties to or for use by yourself and or any third party, including without limitation print or broadcast media, which interviews, books, articles, remarks, and or materials concern, discuss, or reference artists and or any artist parties in any manner whatsoever. All information and all materials in paragraph 1A through D, whether or not publicly disclosed by others, the prohibited material, you hereby irrevocably grant, convey, transfer, and assign to artists all worldwide right, title, and interest, including all copyrights and any renewal, extension, or similar rights in and to any prohibited material whether or not the same are used and are exploited, and regardless of the medium involved, an artist may register such copyright in his own name or the name of any designee, and without, let's see, limitation of any other rights or remedies of artists and or any artist parties. Artists and or the artist parties shall be entitled to recover and any and all monies or other benefit whatsoever received by or on behalf of you from any and all sources in connection with any use and or dissemination by or on behalf of you of any confidential information and or prohibited material hereunder, and any such, let me see, monies or other benefits so receive, let me see, by you for immediate payment to artists and or artist parties. You shall not and shall not authorize or facilitate any third party to use and or reference artists and or artist parties name or identify, including your relationship with artists and or any other artist party with respect to any transaction, sale of goods, or, let me see, other solicitation. And without limiting the foregoing, you shall not at any time defame or disparage artists and or the artist parties, and or use, disclose, disseminate, or confirm directly or indirectly to anyone any information or material which may harm, disparage, demean, or reflect negatively or poorly upon or cause injury to the reputation, character, or career of artists and any of the artist parties. The foregoing expressly includes, without limitation, communications appearing on the internet via blogging and or social networking sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, without limiting let me see, without limiting the foregoing, you shall not, without artist prior written authorization and artist's sole discretion, distribute, publish, or permit the distribution or publication of photographs, videotapes, films, audio tapes, or any other recorded sound or image or any other materials of artists and or artist parties. Ooh, whether or not the same constitutes prohibited material, or B, copy, excerpt, or otherwise use and or dispose of any artist and or artist parties materials, including any property or materials in your possession or control that belong to artists and or the artist parties, and or if such party does not belong to artists and or artist parties which contain prohibited material, to the extent you have not delivered and removed such prohibited material therefrom as required hereunder, including without limitation data, documents, records, smartphones, computers, files, etc. So if you recall, and to get into a Diddy party, people had to give up their phones. You can't get into the Diddy parties with a cell phone. And that upon expiration or termination of the relationship with or in connection with artists or such earlier dates as artists may require, you or your legal representative, heirs, successors, or assigns shall promptly deliver possession to artists in good condition any such property of artists and or artist parties and or other records, copies, excerpts, and other aforementioned materials that are in your possession or control. You acknowledge that due to the nature of the entertainment industry, any disclosure or dissemination by you of any information or material described in paragraph 1 will deprive artists and or the artist parties of the right to use such information or material. You expressly agree that if you breach or threaten to breach paragraph 1, artists and or the artist parties would suffer immediate irreparable harm and injury which could not be adequately compensated by an award of monetary damage, in addition to all other rights or remedies available to artists and or the artist parties. Artists and or the artist parties shall be entitled to injunctive relief and all other remedies provided in such event by law or equity. Such remedies shall include without limitation the right to prevent dissemination of any information or materials described in paragraph 1. You agree to execute any documents and take such other actions as may be reasonably requested by artists and or the artist parties to further evidence or effectuate the rights set forth in this agreement. You hereby appoint artist as your attorney in fact, which appointment is irrevocable and coupled with an interest with full power of substitution and delegation to execute all such documents which you fail to execute within 5 days after artist and or any artist party's request therefore. The term of this agreement and duty to keep all information confidential and not use prohibited material shall commence on the first date above and continue for the life of artist plus 20 years or 70 years, whichever is longer. So this is where we have heard people say that the NDAs, the non-disclosure agreements that were required to be signed by people that entered into these Diddy parties should actually remain into effect after Diddy's death. 20 years thereafter, or it says 70 years thereafter, whichever is longer. You warrant and represent that you have the full right, power, and authority to enter into this agreement and be bound by the obligations herein. Neither the execution, delivery, nor performance of this agreement by you shall conflict with or result in a default or loss of rights under any agreement or understanding to which you or any of your affiliates is a party, or by which you or any of your properties may be bound. This agreement constitutes your valid and binding obligation enforceable in accordance with its terms, and you have signed this agreement voluntarily without duress, coercion, or undue influence. This agreement shall be deemed to have been entered into the state of New York and is in its validity, interpretation, and legal effect shall be governed by the laws of the state of New York, applicable to contracts entered into and performed entirely therein. The New York courts only will have jurisdiction over all controversies regarding this agreement, and any action or other proceeding which involves such a controversy will be brought solely in the courts located within the state of New York. You hereby consent to the personal jurisdiction of such court and waive any objection based on personal jurisdiction, venue, or form non convenience. This agreement embodies our entire agreement with respect to the subject matter hereof. This agreement shall inure to the benefit of and be binding upon the parties hereto and their respective heirs, executors, administrators, representatives, members, owners, shareholders, licensees, designees, successors, and assigns. This agreement may not be transferred or assigned in any manner by you, and any attempted transfer or assignment shall be deemed null and void. Facts photocopied and scanned signatures of this agreement shall be deemed effective as originals. You agree to defend, indemnify, and hold artists and the artist parties and their respective parents, subsidiaries, affiliates, licensees, assignees, and their officers, directors, members, managers, agents, distributions, and employees harmless from and against all and all liabilities, damage, judgments, losses, costs, and expenses, including without limitation reasonable counsel fees of any kind or nature whatsoever which may be sustained or suffered by or secured against any of them by reason of, based upon, or relating to any breach of any of the provisions, representations, or warranties contained herein, or by virtue for any inaccuracy in or breach of the representations and warranties made by you hereunder to any third party on behalf of the artist and or artist parties, or any claim, action, or proceedings asserted or instituted related to or growing out of any such breach. All covenants, terms, restrictions, and provisions of this agreement are severable. If any such covenant, term, restriction, and or other provision is held by a court or other legal form of competent jurisdiction, competent judicial authority to be invalid, void, or unenforceable, such covenant, term, restriction, or other provisions shall be amended to the limited extent necessary to be valid and enforceable, and the remainder of this agreement shall remain in full force and effect. The parties acknowledge that any competent judicial authority shall be empowered to modify such invalid, illegal, or unenforceable covenant, term, restriction, and or other provisions, if any, in accordance with this paragraph. This is an important legal document. You acknowledge that A, you have reviewed this agreement with your legal counsel or knowingly declined the opportunity to do so. Your failure to review this agreement with your legal counsel shall not impair the legally binding nature of this agreement, and you have fully read and understand and voluntarily accept all of the terms and conditions of this agreement. You certify that you are 18 years of age or older, accepted and agreed, including acknowledgement of receipt of all consideration. And it has the name, street address, city, state, private. So it has the person's address, dated Friday, September 9th, 2022, with a signature that's been redacted. This is one of Diddy's non-disclosure agreements. It says by Devon Sitout. Now, what I noticed about this, because I've done, when I worked for the insurance company, we used to have the people that we settled with to sign these letters of agreement. It's really like a hold harmless agreement, but in this case, this one is an NDA, and it's also stating that Diddy and all of, I guess, the people related to him in connection with him will be held harmless. And this was because of Justin's friend being shot in the bathroom. So they had the people that were there at the studio, I believe, is where this happened, to sign these. However, the producer, Lil Rod, said that he did not sign it. Now, somebody produced a copy of it. I don't know who, but he got his hands on it, and this is what it looks like. Now, the interesting part that I see is that it looks like parts of this doesn't, like this print does not match this print. So it looks like parts of it has been mended together or something, put together. You see how the print changes and it goes to a different print. I find that very interesting, and the language in this is quite confusing. There's no way that I would have signed something like this without legal counsel present. And if someone was under duress, they could have signed this, especially with the antagonizing techniques of the Diddy, okay, and his enablers. So just because someone signed it and it has all that language involved does not mean that that person was not under duress. You can be under duress if you feel threatened, you all. So just know that if anytime you're under the influence of a drug, that automatically voids an agreement or a contract. It is not a legally binding document. This is according to real estate law, and this is also according to insurance claims law as well. This is just legal law, just overall in general. You cannot sign a binding contractual agreement such as this if you have been if you're under the influence, if you're not in your right mind, if you're under duress, if you're being threatened, if you're not of legal age. So this is why they included all that language in here. Let's continue on, everybody. All right, so this is a clip that I found of Method Man talking about P. Diddy. And let's hear what he has to say, because I found this quite interesting.
Train party, so I'm sitting up in one of the booths. I'm in there and just tension. It just felt weird. And I remember seeing Puff come through. That's where it started for me at. And Puff had like 5 bodyguards with him. And this was like one of the only times Puff ever stopped to speak to me. So, I felt a little uneasy. Like, what the what's that about? Puff don't do that shit. To make a long story longer, Tracy Waples, she outside in a Benz like, Meth, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. Like Puffy car. Ain't no way I'm getting in that motherfucking car. No way. Even though, I ain't got no beef with Puff. Puffy the man, Sean, or whatever and shit. You get him one-on-one, Puff is the coolest motherfucker on the planet. But Puffy, P. Diddy, that's
Showtime.
Showtime, baby. And I don't blame him, because he got to live up to the persona, you know what I'm saying? And maybe that really is his persona. Like I said, he wasn't the type of person go out his way to speak to you. I remember sitting up in one of the booths. You know how House of Blues is set up. I'm sitting in one, and this is the pre-Soul Train party, so I'm sitting up in one of the booths. I'm in there and just tension. It just felt weird. And I remember seeing Puff come through. That's where it started for me at. And Puff had like 5 bodyguards with him. And this was like one of the only times Puff ever stopped to speak to me. So, you know, I felt a little uneasy. Like, what the what's that about? Puff don't do that shit. To make a long story longer, Tracy Waples, she outside in a Benz like, Neff, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. Like Puffy car. Ain't no way I'm getting in that motherfucking car. No way. Even though, you know, I ain't got no beef with Puff. Puffy the man, Sean, or whatever and shit. You get them one-on-one, Puff is the coolest motherfucker on the planet. But Puffy, P. Diddy, that's Showtime, baby. And I don't blame him, because he got to live up to the persona, you know what I'm saying? And maybe that really is his persona. Like I said, he wasn't the type of person go out his way to speak to you. I remember sitting up in one of the booths. You know how
That is Method Man's account. Now let's hear what everybody remembers. Tommy Sotomayor, a very confident, controversial YouTuber. I think he was kicked off of YouTube because of, um, you know, some of his content and his dialogue. So a lot of melanated females did not like him because he expressed his opinions about melanated females, about them wearing weave. He would call them, what do you call them? Hat wearing. I can't think of the name that he called them, but anyway, he talked about females a lot, melanated women, and especially if they were ratchet, if they're ghetto. He went in on these women, and a lot of people disliked him because they said that he hates black women. But anyway, I want to get into his interview that he had on the Do Not channel. So check his channel out. This is a clip from that channel, and he had an encounter with Puffy as well. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for y'all.
Almost every one of those people who was around Puffy, because I've been around every one of those people around Puffy, here's what they did. If he paid you to do something, if he's having a freak off and you go there, you got regrets now. So now you complain about what you did. Everybody knew what Puffy was doing at his party the minute these people got paid. Why is it that you're willing to take money to do something disgusting? I'm not. Why is it that somebody with money cannot? You never hear about broke people doing this. What a broke man that done had people in freak-offs. Why everybody that's getting SA allegations against them rich? So broke men can't talk you in the SA? Broke men, you ain't got no stories about no freak parties with no broke man, huh? It's all men that's rich. If y'all don't think that that's wrong, if y'all don't think that that's odd, that the only people in the Me Too movement is rich men, so you got enough common sense to not let a poor man do it? You got enough common sense to not suck the poor man's dick? But the rich man, you do it. He was my boss. Well, I've had bosses who ain't sucked no dick.
So just to make it clear, you've been to P. Diddy parties, but you haven't participated in any freak offs.
I didn't go to. I tell the story. You get mad when I would tell the story. I used to tell the story. He used to get mad when I would tell it. I didn't know the stories I know that came out now. I used to tell the story on my show about when I met him when I was in LA. I was walking Hollywood Boulevard and he pulled up. He was with this rapper of his and he was like, "Hey man, my mama listens to you all the time." And I said, "Oh, that's pretty fucking cool." So I'm out there with P. Diddy. So he was like, "Hey man, you want to come listen to one of my artists?" I said, "Sure." He asked me what hotel I was in. I was in the Roosevelt. He sent a car to come get me, and I came to listen to artists. And while I was there, it was a bunch of time bitches, like 8 niggas, and we was all just listening to music. Then we got smoking and rapping and stuff because he was like, "I heard you rap." He wanted to hear me freestyle, so we were doing all that. But then Cali weed is different. I'm a Georgia boy, so I don't know. Cali weed is different. That shit had me stuck, like I couldn't move. So and then I started noticing all the bitches was gone. There wasn't no more niggas left.
Where were y'all at this point? It's still at the Roosevelt Hotel?
The studio. I am uncomfortable.
In the studio inside the Roosevelt Hotel?
No. That's where I stayed. I'm saying he's at the car there. He's at the car to get me to take me to the studio. The studio was just in some building. I don't know where it was off of Vine. It was off of Hollywood Vine. So we go there and the chicks have left and it's just nothing but dudes. I am uncomfortable around dudes for a certain amount of time. Like I can hang, but when it get late, we gotta go. If it's me and a girl, when it's late, it's always something to do. When it's me and a dude, when we late, hey man, somebody need to go. And that's just how I feel. So I'm starting to feel odd, especially since I'm so high, I can't move. So I had my cameraman there with me, and that's why it was on. It was online. My cameraman was a young man, and I always make the joke, and he didn't like this part of when I told the joke. I said, "So my ass was tingling." I said, "I knew my ass was in danger because there's too many niggas, so I wanted to leave." But he don't like because I tell the joke that way. Well, anyway, but it was a joke. I have to make a joke, but I was dead serious about. I did feel uncomfortable because why is it all these niggas and no bitches?
Were
So,
you on some pink cocaine? Because you said you was high.
well, I don't know what it was. I was just smoking. You know, niggas smoking a cypress, so I was just smoking. And I, whatever that purple was or whatever it was stronger than some shit we done had in Georgia. Cause I was stuck. And I don't know if you've ever been high to the point where you stuck, but I was sitting there, but I just couldn't move. So I told my homeboy, let's go. But anyway, Puffy them said, he said, what, were you leaving? I said, yeah. I said, cause my car's parked down there and I think they're gonna tow it. He said, man, I own the building. They ain't gonna tow your shit. And so I was like, well, that didn't work. Let me try another. I said, well, we gotta go somewhere in the morning, so I gotta go home and get some sleep. He said, you can sleep here. Now, at that point, no man is supposed to stop another man from leaving. When a nigga say he want to leave, you're supposed to chuck him the deuces. I, at that point, was like, I'm gonna fight this high and get the fuck up. And I told my cameraman, let's go. And so that was the last time I hung out with him. But I said, whether he was gonna do something or not, I didn't put myself in position for it to happen. Why would anybody else put something in position for it to happen? Let me ask you this question. If you was married to a woman and you came home and told her, I cheated on you last night, but I was just at the hotel with this girl. I thought we were just gonna listen to music, and then something happened. She was in my drink, and she fucked me. You think she's gonna believe you, or she's gonna tell you you should have put yourself in a position for that to happen?
Right. Exactly.
I ain't never had no because I don't put myself in position to get it.
So what do you think of like the Jaguar rights coming out saying that they was at the parties and all of this stuff is true and
No, them parties are real. I went to the first party I went to in LA. When you walked in the door, I went through a door, and I love the way the house was built. When you walk in, it's like an open area, and then it's the rest of the house. In that open area, they straight up had cocaine and pills in the bowl. You know what you're getting into. Stop lying. Everybody that tells you that it was an accident or they didn't mean to, it's a lie. You do what you want to do. Nobody talks you into what it is you did. You did it. And the difference is these women, they don't have to live with it. We'll laugh at a man who tell a story about like that dude, Lil Rod, when he told his story that he ended up having to sleep with Puffy because Puffy told him he'd get him a Grammy. Every man was like, I don't want no Grammy that bad. How you want to feel bad? And the fact that Puffy got the nigga the Grammy. So he did what he said he was going to do. You sucked his dick, he got you the Grammy. That's a fair exchange. Why are you mad? But that's how we treat men. You can't talk a man into something. If you do it, it's because you want to do it. We need to start treating adults like adults. Stop chasing after people's money. Puffy couldn't get none of them people to come to his party if he was broke. And until broke men start having sexual assault charges against them, I don't believe none of them. None of them.
All right, y'all. So make sure you check out that YouTube channel for the full episode of that, y'all. I am going to go ahead and close out right here. This has been an episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Again, Puffy's bail has been denied, y'all. I'll be coming back on because we're going to do some more exploring, some more documents, some more information. And I still want to talk about Adria English and Lamisha Fuller because their stories are sounding a little suspicious. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, I wanted to make this point too for Lamisha Fuller, the one that said that she had several babies that was cut out of her. Now, I've always heard that whenever a woman has a C-section, she can no longer have natural childbirth. But surprisingly, according to Lamisha Fuller and according to Adria English, Miss Fuller does have one child and she had it the natural way. In their words, not mine. So, how is that possible? Because even my doctor stated that once you have a C section, you can no longer have not natural childbirth. You have to always keep getting C sections because basically what they do is they cut they cut open like the I think that's like the near the uterus area. That is like a muscle and that contracts whenever you have a baby. That's what helps to push the baby down and push the baby out to come through the canal. All right? Not to be too graphic, but this is just science and its nature, y'all. All animals have, offspring. So this is just a natural part of life. Whenever the doctors cut that muscle, they are cutting into the muscle of the uterus. The uterus no longer you can't have natural childbirth anymore because of that. So I'm trying to understand how she was able to miraculously defy all odds of what science states and what the doctors say. And she was able to have natural childbirth. So when I heard that, that's the first thing I thought about. And I wanted to write that down in my notes because I have a notebook of questions for some of the information that she was giving out. But I know people are very hypersensitive about these topics because there are people that are victim and have been victimized in the chat, in the audience and things of that nature. But we do need to be logical when we listen to this information. I know people are emotional, but we also have to be logical. So I will be coming back on reviewing a lot of that. So much has gone down between Natanya Rubin, Lionel B, and Adria English said that she has now fired Lionel B as her manager. And I don't even know if he agreed to manage her, but that's what she wanted from him. She showed up on his panel last night. He ended up hanging up on her because she was being a little obnoxious, over talking him, over talking the guests. Everybody said that she sounded like she's either high or drinking or drunk every time she comes on the video. Now, she was featured on another podcast with two young ladies, and I forgot the name of their podcast, but she was a little more subdued. It's just very interesting how all of these stories are coming out. And I do want to review that because there is, information out there that they have taken some of their stories from a movie, but they're saying that the movie was based off of their real life story. So I'm not really sure, but those are some things that I wish to explore later on. And we'll also be getting into the fact that Wendy Williams, they said she has officially been declared as incapacitated from her dementia, y'all. So that is a very interesting take on things with her health situation. Also, Drake is facing some allegations as well. I'm going to see if I can bring that up. Yeah, there's a lot going on, y'all. And Kanye West. He also had some allegations going against him, and they're saying that Trey Songz has been ordered to pay $11 million for beating up a police officer, y'all. So a lot of things is going on out in Hollywood. And I do want to also talk about the massacre of our ancestors on this holiday that y'all like to call Thanksgiving, which we know we're not giving thanks for any of this because we didn't ask to be under oppression, y'all. Please check out Professor Griff's channel. He did a great live stream today, and I wish to share that with you. But I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream right here. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you all next time. Remember to